All right. I want to check. I think we're live, but I scheduled this thing on YouTube and I don't know if it picks up the right one. All right.
Not sure. It's because the one that we're in that everybody was waiting on is saying waiting for remix is at 5:10 p.m.
Oh, and it's not
It's the one that says roadmap planning number 2.
yeah, we should be in it now.
Is
I
your
don't know.
video the video ID YQ4YQ0?
Yeah, here we go. I'm gonna go to it and see. Waiting for remix. All right. Well, sorry everybody. It didn't do it right.
I know tech is hard.
So you can schedule it on YouTube and then
Mhm.
in Zoom you say, okay, go over there, and then it like didn't let me choose which one it was going to. So I think I'm just gonna go wipe it out. Sorry. It's probably super confusing, but I don't know how to stream yet. Delete forever. I understand. Boom. All right, so that one's gone. Hopefully people will find us in the right spot. Okay. Welcome to roadmap planning number 2. Michael Jackson is running a little bit late. I've got people working in my office making a bunch of noise, putting in a stair rail, so I'm in the basement. And while we wait for Michael Jackson, we have Michael Carter here, also known as Killiman, to show off flat routes to get us started. So flat routes is something that is on the roadmap. We talked about it last week. It's a new way to organize your file system that we think people will prefer. It'll be opt-in, so we'll see how it all goes. Yeah, you should be able to share your screen now, Michael.
Okay. Sorry, 1 second. One second. Sorry about that. I'm trying to get my.
It's all right. This is not a serious production yet.
Okay, there it is. All right. Okay, so this is the remix project over here. And then this is my test integration project just to verify that everything is correct. Okay, so the new convention, we're using the future flags in remix config. So right now I'm just going to set it to false just to verify that it's working for the current default conventions, which is the nested routing. So
yeah, with the folders, the nested folders. Our original intention here was we were like, okay, how do we make it easy to know when there's route nesting with layout nesting and when is it just a flat URL and there's no layout nesting? And we're like, well, let's make it look like the JSX route tree where with folders, you can see that the routes get nested inside of there. And then if you're using the dot syntax instead, then it's not getting nested. So that was our original plan. But looking at some apps and getting feedback from people, it kind of gets a little confusing. Where's the layout route? Where are the child routes? And so it's kind of nice to have a folder where all the child routes were, but it's hard to see the mapping of like, this is the parent and these are the children, because you end up with like 10, 12, 20 routes between those. So I think we covered this last week, so I'll stop talking.
So as you know, just like as you said, we have the pathless layout and the actual layout file is out here. So it's not co-located with the folder. Here we have, we're having nested layouts, but here is a flat layout. So this basically means that user ID edit uses the user's layout. So this is your typical standard remix route. So I'll go ahead and run that. This is some debugging because I was trying to figure out why mine was working, but here is the standard routes. So as you can see, you got your root layout, then you have your public layout, and then the path about is nested under that. And you have your index route, you have your users layout, user edit, standard user ID, and then the index route for the under users. So this is default standard stuff. So here I'm going to hit remix the flat routes convention to true. And because I wanted to test them without having to keep changing the folder, I'm just going to expose that. So say this is flat. So now it's going to go into the flats folder. I'd like to be able to actually add a config option to specify where your routes folder is, but for now, I'm just hard. So again, I'm changing the remix project code, and it's doing the build and deploying it, copying it directly into my integration test project. So here I'm going to rerun the remix routes. And as you can see, let's go ahead and show you the flat one. Okay, so this is your standard flat run with all the without directories, it's flat folders. Hopefully everybody can see that. Let me see if I can zoom that more. Okay, so there, maybe that'll be easier to see. So same basic structure as the routes one before, but here in the flat one, everything is all in a single file. So you got your public layout, that's a pathless layout, and then you have your about route and contact JPEG. I added this because I wanted to verify that my escaping was working properly. You have your index route. Here's one with a splat route. Here's the user's layout, user ID route, and then the user ID edit. But because we don't want edit to be nested on, looking for a outlet in user ID, we're saying user ID is not an outlet. So edit should nest under users, which if you look here is what happens.
And that's cool because then you can see I've got both these URLs, but you can also and they group next to each other, but you can see they don't nest in the layout. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, that was when you first had that spec, that was the trickiest part because I was like, how do I figure that out?
Yeah.
Without, and then you mentioned something about how doing, first enumerating all the routes, the files, and then going back and then determining the parents after. Once you gave me that hint, then that was when the light bulb clicked and I was able to.
Yeah, so what do I got now? Make a hierarchy.
Right. So the parent, basically the way it works is that when it is looking for a parent route, it just, each of these are, I capture these as individual segments. And then what I'm doing is I'm looking at the longest parent prefix that matches. So here, edit is going to look for a users.userid underscore route, but there is no user underscore, a separate layout for that. So then it goes up to the next one and looks for that. And that's when it finds the user's layout. So that's basically how it works when it's looking up the hierarchy. And it can do it from as many levels as you want.
That's cool.
So, yeah, so the next thing this is your standard one, but I think ideally the people want to be able, when you want to do co-location, you can't really do that with flat files because there are no folders to co-locate with. And if you otherwise you'd have to do the full path anyway, and that kind of defeats the whole relative path. So I think the typical layout was going to be flat folders. So flat folders,
and this is how most people's apps seem to be organized anyway. Like my whole career, you tend to end up with like a feature folder, and then you put all the stuff inside of there. So now naturally these routes already with the action loader and component in one file. What was missing is like, well, now I want all the other files that have to do with this route right here with me. And these folders let you do that.
Right. So if you look here at the flat folders look essentially the same. Instead of having a .tsx as an actual file, it's the folder name as your route. And here, I use the underscore prefix on index just because I want the index route to be floated to the top. So the index here is the underscore prefix just is it's just part of the convention.
That's cool. Do you have any modules inside of some of those? You could pop one open.
Yeah, I'm gonna expand that in just a second. So first of all, let's go ahead and switch my guy over to flat. That's flat. Do this. Just so that I could switch over to that. So here I'm going to expand all these out. Okay, so you have the route name as the folder, and then you have the actual route file. And you can, what I wanted to do was make it so that you can, because here I could change this. I can rename this to page.tsx. So if you were coming in from Next.js and you had a page file, you could literally have a page route. And flat routes will basically anything that's either index, layout, route, page, those, the common ones will be treated as a route file. Everything else will be treated as a component. Or one of the things and this was something I found from Solid, I think it was Solid Start that just came out, where they were basically using the parentheses as your kind of like your optional thing. So they were wrapping their route file in a parentheses. And that way you could, instead of having a whole bunch of index files or route files or whatever, you could actually name them, but kind of give them a meaningful name. The way I do is I just basically say anything that has an underscore is considered a route file as the main route file. So here, because I'm public about, if I were to do it as underscore index or underscore route or index, when you're trying to do a control P and look for that,
yeah,
find about, you could just type about and you'll find the folder, but having it to be able to have the actual file itself pop up makes it a lot easier to find that file. That's
cool.
Kind of an extension to your original spec. So this, we can certainly, it's just a regular expression that I have. So
yeah, I think we want to try to make it as simple as possible for the default case. And then if people want to have more flexibility, they could bring in your original function that has all
I'm probably going to continue with my package just for the extensions for it.
Totally.
But here I'm going to go ahead and I can just put in just so that we can create a new file. We'll say there's no CSS. Let's say avatar png, just so that we know that those are, you can co-locate those files.
Yeah, you can put anything in there. Well,
So
cool, Michael. I want to totally, when we ship this, let's do a little video showing off how it all works. Is that cool? We won't have a ton of time left. We got like 30 something minutes, and there's a couple of proposals that we want to.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, it's all right. This is awesome work. I'm so pumped about it. Yeah, just thanks again for jumping in. And I wrote a little proposal, and then all of a sudden Killiman had a function that did it, and I think it proved that people like it. So it should be good.
This is the route structure from the folders version, so it does map up to the same as the
the same thing in there.
All right, awesome.
So cool. Thanks so much, Michael.
Hey, no problem.
You gonna stick around? You're gonna bail?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick around. I was just closing my share. So
all right, cool. I'm gonna share my screen now. Welcome, Michael Jackson.
Hello. Thank you.
All right. I should just be sharing Chrome here now. Okay, so we kind of reviewed everything last week that we had going on. A couple things made it over the finish line, a couple things made it into merged. But I don't want to review anything today. I just want to jump into some proposals because we didn't even get to do that last time.
Yeah, man.
Good. All right, so if you don't know, we put all of our proposals under discussions for both projects, both Remix, and if you drop React Router in here, same thing under proposals. Official RFCs, that's our team when we are gonna do some work. So anyone who wants to propose something for either one of these projects, put it in proposals. So Mike, I was thinking we could just look at, we could look at past year and see the top ones ever. But I think some of those are rabbit holes at the moment, and I want to get a couple things on the backlog if we can today.
Yeah. Yeah,
And a
yeah.
lot of them we've added, like this is in router, we're doing this now, we actually support this already. So yeah, let's check out last month. All right, this one, fastly build server target. If anyone follows me on Twitter, they know that I'm a huge fan of Fastly.
Yeah.
'Cause
So
of
I've been
the just-
talking to the Fastly team about this one. Server build target, in my opinion, just needs to go away. Or I'm kind of leaning that way. Server build target was our attempt at, you just give us a word or a flag and we automatically know how to do everything for your cloud provider. And so right now it does things like, we basically use it as like an alias to know like what module format does your server need? Where do the files need to go? What kinds of plugins do we need to run? For example, on Cloudflare, we need to bundle everything. On Node, we don't need to bundle everything. We can leave some of the requires in the server bundle, things like that. But it's basically the way that it's going. And this is interesting because the Fastly team basically came along and they said, hey, we built a Fastly adapter that runs Remix on compute at edge, which is their edge runtime. So for one, that was super cool. Thank you, Fastly, for building that and for like taking the time to invest in Remix. That was really awesome.
When I first saw that they had a edge runtime, I was like, we got to go look at this. And then never did.
Well, yeah, that was the original idea, right? Is like we would just build this thing that could run on any JavaScript runtime. And the fact that a third party, completely unbeknownst to us, was working on this and actually made something that is really cool. That they were able to do that for themselves. But anyway, so now they're coming along and they're like, hey, can we participate in the server build target dance? Can we have like a Fastly target? But basically we're going to keep going down this road for everybody. And anytime somebody releases a new runtime for JavaScript, we're going to keep going down this road, which in my original estimation was fine because, there's a finite number of cloud providers.
Yeah.
A large number, but a finite number, it's not like an infinite number. But I don't know, just talking with Jacob, it seems like he's not opposed to this flag, but he does want to like give people access to some other flags that I think also makes sense, like server module format. So we actually deprecated server module format a while ago, saying, no, people shouldn't have to, manually input what module format they need. They should just give us their server build target, and then we'll know, oh, you're building for Fastly. So you need, I don't even know which one they need, CommonJS or ESM, probably ESM since they're new.
Yeah.
But like, oh, you're building for Node. Okay, you need to build a CommonJS type thing. And we would automatically just know that. And so we said, okay, deprecate server module format, server build target is the thing. But Jacob, I think, has made a compelling argument for why, like, our compiler essentially should be like this lower level thing. And this should be more of like a template concern.
Well, especially because like Node, you can pick, right? I want to use ESM or I want to use.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think newer JavaScript runtimes, I don't think you'll be able to pick. I think, like, I would be surprised if they supported. In fact, I think they were telling me it might be here in this PR.
Oh, gotcha. Well, and maybe our server build target shouldn't have been Node. Maybe it should be like Node 18 or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they were saying, I think Harmony was saying that they need a Fastly value for the server build target because they actually need to like bundle everything, right? Yeah. So the trade-off is, let's make our compiler lower level. Let's sort of re-enable server module format. We've got server module format and server build path, which basically says, where's the file going to go? what format is it going to be in? And then we've also got server dependencies to bundle, which is what are we going to bundle in that thing that we build for you?
Yeah.
Fastly basically needs to say, as far as I can tell, build to ESM, bundle everything by default. And so just in their template, they could just have, a regular expression that matches every string, bundle everything, build it over here, and build it to ESM. And then
And
I
that
think
just goes,
they'll
and
be
you're
able
thinking
to,
that just goes in our templates, like when it's like,
yeah,
here's
that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm
Cloudflare
thinking.
starter.
Fastly makes
Yeah.
a template, says this is the template to use for Fastly. We make templates for Cloudflare already, and we can make templates for Node. This will also, by the way, let us really easily today make a template for Node ESM on Node, because we can just say, look, build to ESM, and then if there's some dependency that is ESM only in Node, that will just work, which would be nice. If there's a CJS only dependency, go and bundle that thing. It's just like, we're just like exposing sort of like these low level levers for people to pull in their templates instead of trying to figure it all out in our compiler.
So we had a handful of flags, and then we had this one that was supposed to like configure those 2 or 3 things automatically,
Yeah, it was supposed to
as
be,
well as
yeah,
like nowhere to put files a little bit
Yeah.
too. So it was almost like a remix config shortcut. And now we're saying, no, here's just the config for this thing, put it in your template.
yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah. I was hesitant to do it because I really, 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 really don't want to build another Webpack. And that's kind of what remix config is starting to feel like, is like, we're going to expose these little things, and they're really just like things that you would find in a Webpack config. Oh, what is the module format that we're building to,
What's the dev tool?
Yeah, exactly. And
What's that?
the world does not need another Webpack.
They need another
But-
turbo pack.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we keep our compiler pretty tight, so I think this is an okay thing, because we're trying to go so many places, right? That
Yeah.
I think
So
we need a
that's
little bit of,
yeah. So that's the feedback that I'd like to communicate here in this discussion, is like, yes, the way that we currently do things, you would need a Fastly server build target. But the way that we want to go, let's just put this in your template and just do it that way.
and hopefully we don't add more build args to our config.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think V2, we just put all of this stuff in the template and we deprecate server build target.
Okay, cool. So for our roadmap, let's just add, what do we want to call this?
I think this is just like, help the Fastly team ship this thing, because they've already got their adapter ready to go, which is awesome. They're going to maintain it on their GitHub org, and which is also really awesome, right? We don't have the maintenance burden for that. They're going to maintain it. And then the other thing I think, which would be, is which we should do, is we should help them promote it. So
we should have it in the CLI. That's like, hey, where do you want to?
Yeah, we could put it as an option in the CLI, although that list, we've talked about the create remix.
Yeah, there's something we need to do differently there.
So yeah, in the short term, we could put it in the CLI. But
so my question right now is, what do we put on the roadmap? Do I just take that proposal and put it on the roadmap with the name that it is? Are we deprecating server build target? Are we first just going to add a Fastly flag for now and then go?
I'd say let's go ahead and add Fastly to the list of options in create remix.
And are we going to use it as a build flag like the other ones? Or is this work deprecating server build target?
No, it's not. Yeah, no, it's not a build flag. No. So literally all they need from us right now is add them as an option and create remix. And then in their template, don't use server build target. They can do what they need to do today, right?
Okay, gotcha.
They can just use server module format, server build path, server dependencies to bundle there. So maybe like communicate to them, help them understand, like, you can do what you need to do right now. Just ignore this server build target thing because it's distracting. It's leading.
Yeah.
into-
Okay. And then we can have a separate thing on the roadmap that is deprecate server build target.
Yeah. Deprecate
Okay.
server build
Gotcha.
target at that point in the
All
future.
right. So add fastly to CLI options. I'm just going to leave this here.
I mean, a potential thing that we could put there is ditch, server build target in our current templates, right? Because we've got a bunch of templates right now for Cloudflare and Node and everything in the Remix repo that, given this is the direction that we want to go, we should ourselves stop using it and then tell everybody else, okay, we're not doing this in the future, right?
Yeah. All right. And then
It's so hard to know the right level of abstraction for a compiler.
for real.
I mean, you look at what the runtimes are doing now, and like, I saw the other day, like Bun has a router, like in Bun, they have a router for HTTP stuff. And I'm just like, I can't imagine ever wanting that in my runtime. Because like, what if I don't like your routing? I mean, just today, we just discussed like a completely different syntax for routing, like, oh, we've got parentheses around the optional. Like, I don't want that all locked up in my runtime, but whatever.
I don't know why it didn't show up. There it is. Thank you. What? No. Oh, geez. Check. Add. Yes. There it is. Cool. And then I'm just going to toss one in here. Deprecate server build target. And then in here, we'll include
John Jensen seems to like undeprecating server module format. So as long as John Jensen likes it, then I like it too.
same. John, we need you to come work for us. We can pay you now.
Well, we can't pay you, but we know people who can pay you.
Yeah. We don't have to calculate a burn down chart anymore.
Exactly.
Stop in our templates. And undeprecate. What is it?
Server module format. Yeah, undeprecate server module format, get rid of server build target. So part of that work is like just an initial thing that we could do is just take this approach in our own templates, right?
Yeah.
Take this approach in our own templates. And then at some point in the future, we can kick the can down the road of like officially deprecate server build target. We could undeprecate server module format at the same time, I think.
If we redeprecate any of these, then like we got to just quit. Just use
a little bit of waffling is expected, I think, but not.
Yeah. Honestly, like I had never seen any framework support all these runtimes, right? When we started Remix, there was Cloudflare, which was generally like, I don't know, like rare. Like I didn't see people tweeting, hey, I'm pushing something to Cloudflare workers. It was just this thing that I heard you talk to me about. And it was Node. It was Node. And so we were the first people that I ever knew to even try to ship this kind of a thing all over the place. So yeah, I think it's.
Did you see Cloudflare shipped their Radar product on Cloudflare workers, built it using Remix?
Yeah, it looks awesome.
That was cool.
And it's an app.
Yeah, it's a total app. Yeah, the whole thing doesn't have an origin.
Yeah, I saw a guy on Twitter the other day who was like, Remix encourage you to build a Craigslist style website. And I'm just like so offended by that whenever I hear that kind of stuff.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, just boring forms. And
I'm going to try and boil everything down into this one little sound bite.
Yeah.
So I can look smart.
Okay, here we go. Sort by month. We got 2 things on the roadmap. My goal for this meeting is done.
All right. It's been fun. See ya.
CSS modules, that's on the roadmap. All right, so that's on the roadmap now. And so folks know this tag means that it's from the Remix team, which helps us. I mean, they're on our team, so we're gonna look at their stuff first. I don't think anyone should be offended by that. But I do want to. That's a whole lot of stuff from our team. I'm curious what other people have. Are suggesting here. What else we got here? Improve how we expose and name types. 21 upvotes. People are liking that one. Oh, Michael, I see John's face here, so you might have to just go with this one too.
John who?
Jensen.
Oh, there he is.
So this is from Chance.
John who? We were just talking about. Sorry, my girl just got home from school and I was saying hi to him, so I lost context for a bit.
Context is everything.
Yeah.
This proposal.
John,
Actually, you know what?
John.
Let's kind of look at these. Are any of them like sticking out to you, Michael, that you want to like dig in and be like, oh, that immediately sounds like something I want to put on the roadmap?
Well, I made a proposal this week.
Oh,
I felt like was a pretty quick win. It's called Bundle Remix Dev.
down
There
at
it
the
is, all
bottom.
the way at the bottom of the
Yeah,
list.
2 upvotes. We don't open those ones.
Ah, crap.
I'm just kidding.
This one should be just like a super quick win.
Do you want to give the 2-line summary of what it helps and what it does, what it is?
Yeah, so right now in the create remix flow, you say, npx create remix, and then it's like, hold on a second, let me install remix dev. Oh, okay, let me install all the dependencies for remix dev. Waterfall spills out, and it takes forever to run the thing.
Let me install MDX. All right, here's the rest of
Let me install
NPM for you.
MDX and all the other dependencies. So, in Babel. So this basically is just saying, no, we're just going to bundle remix dev. So it doesn't actually have any dependencies except for like some system specific stuff, like stuff that relies on node JIP and file system stuff. There are a couple of things that we just can't bundle. But besides those, we're going to bundle everything else into one giant script so that when you install remix dev, it installs without doing the whole waterfall thing.
That's very on brand for us.
Yeah. It's
eliminate all waterfalls, even npm install.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, who cares what's in there? It's just everything that you need to develop a remix app, right?
Yeah.
And so, but the thing is, it's going to change. By the way, anybody listening to this, please don't. I understand why you're doing deep imports because we don't expose the right things. But if you're doing deep imports, please just let us know why and like make some noise or make a proposal to like expose the thing that.
Mehdi did a big search across GitHub too and found a few here.
Yeah. So this is the kind of stuff. I think we're already exposing that get route module exports. I think somebody's just not importing that from the right place.
Oh, this reminds me that this thing, how we do a dependency injection on here on routes, we don't actually need to even do that. They could just import it.
Right. They could import it if we exposed it. Yeah. So
sorry, that's a tangent.
But yeah, let's have like a well-defined public API for remix dev that exposes the things that people need, because when we do this bundling work, all those files in the published package are going to change. I don't consider it a breaking change because we never agreed to support deep imports from our packages.
Yeah.
I think it was always just sort of implied that we wouldn't support that you shouldn't do that. But since people are doing it, let's not break their stuff. And so that was the point of the proposal, is like, tell us if you need this stuff and we'll expose it on the public API, and then we're going to bundle it.
Cool. I'm on board with this, especially now that we have work computers where npm installs take 3 times longer than they used to.
Yeah.
I don't know if the world knows that, but it's not as bad as it seems when you're on your own computer.
Yeah, this is just like I think this is just a low-hanging piece of fruit that we can just pluck right off, and hopefully create remix will get faster. And yeah, the whole first 10 minutes of using remix will be a little more enjoyable.
Instead of npm install. All right, I'm assigning this to you.
No, assign it to Jacob.
Sorry, I'm assigning this to Jacob.
Yeah, he's already.
Oh my
already.
gosh. GitHub is so fun sometimes.
He's like already like begun on the work.
Cool. Roadmap.
So when somebody is assigned something and it's in the backlog, that's fine, right? We just know that when we get to it, I mean, do we even need to assign things to people in the backlog?
No, yeah, we assign it when we move it to plan generally.
Okay, yeah, so we don't even need to assign it.
Yeah,
but-
I think I got a little too excited about clicking buttons.
Okay,
All right. But yeah, so the idea is when it goes to planned, we make an assignment and then we say, okay, whoever's assigned here, go write an RFC about, like, the proposal's like, hey, here's a problem, here's a solution. And then RFC is like, I looked at some code, like here's how I intend to build this thing.
Yeah.
And here's what the API looks like if we're adding or changing API. And then people can come in and say like, oh crap, I do 8 million deep imports or whatever, right? So
yeah, exactly.
Cool. Oh, I lost it.
Kent
Kent-
is in the Discord suggesting that we use another dependency to bundle our dependencies.
Oh no, there's a package JSON field. I just pulled it up here. A bundle dependencies.
Oh, sorry. I thought that was a package.
Yeah, I did too right at first. So I clicked on it. I was like, oh, okay.
Bundle dependencies. This defines an array of package names that will be bundled when publishing the package. NPM pack. How? Oh, so at the NPM level,
Yeah, they'll make the tarball.
it just has like it must just have a node modules folder in your published package that's got those packages that you said to bundle. That's pretty freaking cool. I didn't realize that. Yeah, so I was thinking we would just do it in rollup, right?
Yeah.
Since we're using rollup to build everything, we just tell rollup, hey, roll this up as well. But I think what Kent is saying is we can just use this bundle dependencies thing, and we could probably leave rollup doing exactly what it's doing right now.
Yeah, just build remix.
We would just end up with this like vendored node modules directory in the tarball, in the NPM tarball, and we wouldn't end up with a giant script. I think
They even made it specifically for us. I don't know if you noticed, but it's for the awesome web framework.
They did.
Yeah.
Is that package name available? We should snag that if it's not. Then we'll just install Remix. That's cool, Kent. Thank you for.
Oh my gosh. I shouldn't have looked it up right now. Hurry, Michael, go get it.
Oh, is it available?
Yeah, it's available right now.
It's in their docs and it's available. That's hilarious.
Of all the things that are not available, like
Yeah.
you could do like monkey brains, and that one is probably taken. Oh man,
Yeah.
that's funny.
Because it's too wordy. You could never get somebody to actually type that out.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. Kent, gosh, that guy, he's so productive. Like no matter what is going on, he's like got stuff done already. So anyway, he added a comment
Exactly,
here.
Michael. I take that as a sign of approval. And thank you for the Christmas card. I hung it up on my collection of Christmas cards.
Oh, I need to go get the mail. Did you get ours yet, Michael?
We did actually. Thank you.
My dog looks like one of his arms.
I
is
noticed
missing.
you
I just
included your
realized.
dog. I
Yeah.
was like, that dog, he's like a part of the family now.
Oh my gosh. He really is. I'm like, I need him up there next to me to like pet while I'm falling asleep now.
Oh, there's no, I will never fall asleep next to my
Until
dog.
he farts and then like I chuck him off the bed. Get out of here.
Can't happen.
All right. What else we got here?
Falling asleep with your dog.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, he's nice and warm, I guess. Keep you warm.
Yeah, down on your feet. How come I keep losing this? I need to control click these things. All right. This is my pet here. remix dev server. But both of these things, the two things you and I made proposals for, everyone's gonna be like, oh my gosh, they just go in and review their own proposals.
They just put their own stuff in the backlog. That one should be super easy to.
So much for open development.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's go and look at some other stuff that. Oh, okay. You want to do? Okay, you want to.
Are you're caught up on this one, right? Like my motivation on it is like,
yeah, I think we both.
You're on the
agree
same
this
page. We
already.
don't need to.
We both agree on this already. The idea is the remix dev server is where all requests go in dev, right?
Yeah, and they know how to serve assets, the right URLs, then proxy everything else to the real server. It'll just help us do live reload better. It'll help us do HMR in the future, whether we like rely on other things or do our own. Just whatever it is, it gives us a stable server that doesn't have to go down and then come back up.
Yeah, so my hope is in the future, this can help us avoid the current janky setup of that we have right now, which is basically like outputting all these files in dev.
Yeah. I think Pedro and I were talking about it. I think we can just kick out a manifest. We'll still need a manifest because the server needs to know what the URLs are for all the scripts.
Yeah, but then it can dynamically handle those requests as they come in, right?
Yeah, and so like potentially we only ever build the scripts for the page that needs them, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So this would be cool. You should be able to have like 1,000 routes, and your build in dev will never be slow because it's only going to be bundling the stuff that really matters. But there's questions about like, what does the network tab end up looking like because of the way code splitting works? Like there's probably some dragons there. But if nothing else, we could just bundle everything in memory. Anyway, now I'm getting into implementation ideas. I want to throw this on in the backlog. Pedro's already kind of looking into it. You cool with me doing that?
Yeah, 100%. I love it.
All right. Oh, you love it. Create issue from.
I mean, we've been around I feel like we've been around the block like
a few times on
it. The original dev server did do that, right?
Yeah, we bundled on requests. We were like, oh, what do you need?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was a cool dev server.
Yeah, add that to the roadmap. I wish it let me like pick a status when I added it, but whatever. Whatever. Back to the roadmap. Oh, there it is. Shakalaka, shakalaka. Okay.
All right, now let's go and look at some of the stuff that's proposed by somebody
else.
Ryan Florence and Michael Jackson.
Well, this is one of ours too. You tell me which one to click on. Those are still all ours. You want to
just start at the top where the stuff that's been most upvoted?
Yeah, so CSS modules is already on the roadmap.
Okay.
Fastly, we just put that on the roadmap. Types.
Is there any way to see this view of stuff that we haven't already added to the roadmap, or not important?
No.
Okay.
I'll just keep that in my head, and then they should like die eventually, right? Naturally, like when you look at the last month, it shouldn't have any activity, and then it will.
Okay. All right. So you're just looking at this list, and stuff that's already.
You want to look at stuff from people on our team, or you want to look at community stuff, and maybe we can talk about stuff from our team later.
Let's just look at the top voted stuff that's not in the roadmap.
Okay, that's improve how we expose types. This one's from Chance. This is a proposal to audit, simplify, improve the way we define and expose many of our types, given modular remix design. I'm getting nervous. This is one of our like 6-month conversations we've been having, I think.
Loader function describes a server function, so you get it from your server adapter. Meta function describes props. Okay. True for 2 reasons. It's potentially confusing. Name the same, different meanings spent on the package they're imported from. Yep. I mean, it would have taken a lot of work to write up this proposal, so I think I at least owe Chance like a good read through.
Well, and you and I actually had, I think, the same conversation is like, where the heck are the packages located and where do we import from? You and I had a conversation for like an hour and a half last Monday after this.
Yeah. So is he proposing that we have a common dependency between the packages? Because I don't think this is going to be solved by.
So what happened was when he did the meta function work where we changed the signature of meta.
Yeah.
It was wild how many places we had to go change that. I was pairing with him at the time,
Okay.
and it was like 4 different spots.
Okay.
Had either like when it feels like if we need to add something or change something about the meta function API, seems like that type should exist in one place, right? And then everybody else is
Mhm.
like, oh, I've got a meta function. What's the signature?
Mhm.
But it was all over the place. So it's a good I think it's a good kind of litmus test of like, all right, if you needed to add a field to the meta API, let's trace through all the changes to the code that would need to happen. And I think it kind of like shows where some things are not quite organized as well as they could be.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to go through, like, I want to know from the work that you guys did, what were all the changes that you had to make? I mean, could we just go and look at the PR?
Yeah, we
Because
could.
it's let me just say this. It's easy to be like, oh, there was a bunch of confusion, there was a bunch of this. Let's put everything into a separate package and we'll just rely on that. And now that's
No, I don't want to do that. Yeah, I
that's
don't
the
want
new
to do that.
place for everything to go to die, because we had a conversation where we didn't get into the specifics, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I want to do, is get into the specifics and figure out, okay, what did you actually have to touch? What are the 4 types that you had to touch in the 4 different places? Why? Where do those things belong in an ideal scenario?
Yeah. So for this meeting, I think I'm mostly looking for us to agree that like this seems like something worth digging into. Let's put
Yeah, I
on
mean,
the
this is
roadmap.
making it hard to make changes to Remix. So absolutely, we should dig into this for sure.
Yeah, but we don't need to like get into those details of like, okay, what were all the types that had to change and stuff.
Yeah,
like,
not in this meeting.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
But there's I'm just gonna say, like, yeah.
It's
already
this
I-
is
I already
freaking
said-
hard. When we started reading this, I was like, oh crap, it's this.
I do not
complicated.
want a Remix utils package,
Yeah.
like that's where code goes to die.
Yeah, the meta one was tricky because it's like the compiler needs to know it.
Yeah.
Remix React meta gets called in the browser, so the browser code needs to know it, and it gets called in the server. So
Server
all
runs.
of the server ones, Cloudflare, Node, Dino, all the Remix run / whatever adapter packages also need to know it, and we actually just copy pasted it in all 3 of those places.
Wonder where anyway.
Yeah.
I would love to have this discussion, but yeah, I would be really interested to just think about that. Like, why does the compiler need to know it?
Because of prefetching the link tags, it goes in the
Yeah, it goes in the manifest.
yeah, it needs to know the shape of a page link and of a HTML. Anyway, now I'm like, let's not get into the details, and then I got into the details.
Yeah.
All right. Do we want to? Man, we should probably. These are not fun things that we're putting in here. They're all just like they're foundational pieces, right?
Well, we keep having conversations about this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, we keep having like, this is the type of stuff where, like you said, this one, I mean, the Remix Dev server and the bundling Remix Dev, those are going to have, like, I think, huge implications in improving the dev experience. The one that we just went over from Chance, that's going to really improve developing Remix itself for us.
Yeah. All right. Let's add it to the roadmap. You cool with that?
Yeah.
Let's finally deal with this.
Yeah.
All right. Projects roadmap. And yeah, every time anybody adds a feature, this topic comes up. Hey. All right. This one from Sergio.
We should call it core.
Who said that?
Kent. That'll fix all of our problems.
When Michael and I first started Remix, it was just called Remix Core, and like we just put everything there until we had half a clue about what it was.
We thought about that. I was like, Ryan, we cannot call it core.
I'm like, but we don't know where it goes yet. Just put it here until we know where it goes.
Yeah.
This one's quick and interesting. I'm curious your thoughts on this. Change export default with named component export. So I've seen a lot of remix code where they export default index route, and like all their routes are called export default index route. Which is funny because they just copy and paste, right? Or duplicate a file to make a new route. And some folks are saying that they'd like to, of course, we'd still support export default, but maybe if you could just export component.
I love it. Like I love this idea. I don't even need to read this proposal. I love this idea. I already export default function component in my Remix app. Like I call it component.
Yeah. So this is cool because then you don't have to do a default export.
Yeah.
I
love it.
Okay.
So yeah, so we'll still support export default for legacy, whatever, but this means we need to update all of our docs, all of our templates, all of our examples to just call it component.
Yeah. Yeah, that's nice. I've lost track of it, but I remember thinking about this when it came up in Discord last week. I was like, oh, that also means something really cool. And I can't remember what that something really cool is.
I mean, it's easier to read through too, the file, like where's the error boundary? Oh, there it is. Where's the loader? There it is. Where's the component? There it is. Like these are the pieces of this route module.
Yeah.
Instead of one of them being called index page,
Yeah.
I love it.
Probably helps.
That's a good proposal. I didn't even need to read it. I'm thumbs up on it.
That's funny. Why did it add that label to it? That's not.
I didn't realize Kent said export default was a mistake. I tend to agree with that.
Yeah, I remember when ES modules were first getting spec'd in Harmony modules, and there was some like old neckbeard developers who were involved with the spec, and they were saying we shouldn't have a default export.
Yeah.
But just way too many node modules had module.exports equals. Yeah. And so it was kind of like a concession that they made. Yeah. I just remember reading a thing from one of the guys, I wish I knew who it was, where he was just like, you do not want this. Yeah, you're going to want to get rid of this. And I feel it now. I'm like, I don't ever like doing default exports personally.
I always think it's funny when somebody puts export default object and they put everything in their object.
Yeah.
Like, we have jumped the shark.
Well, I want to increase the size of my bundles for no reason. That's why I do that.
We have lost the point.
All right, it's on the roadmap. Dang, we got all sorts of stuff on the roadmap now.
Oh, there's so much good stuff in here. Let's keep going.
Oops, that's where I want to go. Yeah.
We have all these smart people and contributing to Remix. It's pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, we have such a cool community. All right. And one of them's just hanging out here. Say hello again, Michael Carter, so that the Zoom shows your face to all of our people watching.
Oh, hey, hello. Can you see me? I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Hey.
Make entry server client root files optional. I like this for like tutorials. Like I've been talking a lot, as you know, Michael, about the first 10 minutes with Remix. And I just wanted to be like so smooth. And I think it'd be cool if these files were optional, so that a Remix, like your first Remix app, when you're like, oh, I'm going to play with it this weekend, it's just like a routes folder, right? And an index JSX. And because root, and I don't know about root, I don't know if that one should be optional, but entry server and entry client mostly look the same across Remix apps. The server, we generally like set up all the boilerplate for React streaming now. And then the client is just like a quick hydrate with a little bit of stuff to release the main thread. You don't get scroll jank, but I don't know. I think it'd be cool to have just a really simple start to Remix where some of these files are optional.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just thinking this work to me feels like it's part of something bigger.
In my personal task board, I call it 0 to hero.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good name. Because you know, you have to ask your questions like, okay, so if entry server is missing, if entry server is missing, I assume that, you know, when we, you know, boot the server in dev, we're just going to use sort of this default entry server, which is fine. Then when we build for production, we're probably also going to use that default entry server.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess when it shows up, you know, if somebody goes in there and makes an entry server, entry.server, then I guess we just start using that one. But it'd be nice if they had a way to start with like what the server is already doing by default, right? So almost like an eject just for that one file, right? I know that you're already booting my app and building it and deploying it to production, but I need to tweak something about what you are doing. So give me the code that you're already using by default so that I can tweak it.
Yeah, remix generate entry client. Okay, here's what we do for you.
Yeah, instead of me having to like write it from scratch, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of imagining a world where it's like you're like make dir routes and then like touch or I don't know, echo. Well, I can't do that part. Anyway, so you're gonna make like a routes index.jsx. And then you could literally say npx remix dev, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you don't need to package JSON. You don't need to do an npm install. This remix dev thing will be like, oh, okay, I'll go get that. And then it's like, oh, this is enough files. I got a routes folder, got a JSX file. Let's go. And then you're saying,
okay. Yeah, no, I totally agree. The part about not needing npm install and not needing package JSON, I feel like is a separate proposal.
yeah, that's something else. Yeah, this is kind of my like.
But this is, yeah, but I feel like this is just kind of like the tip of a larger proposal, like the way that Logan has written this up. Because it needs to be more inclusive to cover these other. So this code that you're writing down in the comment box, I feel like is another proposal. Yeah.
Yeah. I was only putting in the comment box just because I had somewhere to type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think what we need to have in this proposal is we need to flesh it out with, just like some CLI command that will give you on the file system the code that we're running by default.
Yeah.
And then just like a description of, you know, the end-to-end thing. And once this is all working, then we can get on to your idea about what you were typing down here with, you know, make dir and then go.
Yeah.
Because I think we're going to have to.
And that's going to need the remix dev server first, because that thing, yeah, I think so anyway.
So yeah, that's we're working towards that. But yeah, this proposal I think needs to be fleshed out a little bit more.
We could put it on the roadmap and then we flesh out in the RFC if we're like, yes, we want to do this, but there's changes we gotta think through it more, right?
Yeah, let's wait to put it on the roadmap until we have until the proposal.
I lost you for a second there. You said let's wait to put on the roadmap. What?
Did my video glitch?
Yeah.
Okay, I need to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, it's only like once every half hour.
Yeah, I know. It's like I feel like it's like my ISP or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, either that or it's no, I was gonna say it's Google Meet, but this isn't Google Meet, this is Zoom.
Yeah, it happens on wherever.
Okay, so it's my ISP. Okay.
Even in person, like we're at dinner and you just like pause with like
okay, I'm back. No, so yeah, let's wait until the proposal's done and then we'll put it on the roadmap somewhere. Does that sound good?
Yeah, I guess for me, these proposals are like, oh, there's 60% of something good that we want here. And so if we want to do it, let's put it in the backlog. And then the RFC is where it's like, that's where we refine it to exactly what we want. And
you're gonna, okay, there's an RFC that comes after the proposals.
Yeah, the proposal is just here's the idea, right? don't need to dig into code and see exactly how it's going to be implemented, which adding implementation notes is great, but not needed. It's just like, hey, here's an idea here. I'd like it to work like this. And then we can get into the nitty. If we can be like, that's enough for us to say, yeah, we want to make these things optional. And then
It just feels like more overhead to me, though, to have an RFC in addition to this. I mean, a lot of the proposals are fleshed out enough that you could just.
Some of them are. Yeah, some of them are totally enough. And those, I think, those I've actually been switching over to I just move it to the RFC discussion,
Okay.
like if it's good enough. But the ones that aren't good enough, I think it's enough to just say, let's add it, but then say, let's do an RFC to make it more.
Okay, so this proposal doesn't need an RFC. It's great. Copy and paste it. This other proposal here actually does need an RFC because it needs some more, like, we like the idea, but we need more about implementation.
That's what I'm thinking. It's like, see right here on my screen, I can just be like, nope, this isn't a proposal. This is an RFC now because it was good enough.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So I would say, if that's the way you want to run it, let's throw this in the backlog. I would love to see this.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And then the RFC is where we can flesh it out to like more specifics so that we all are on the same page of what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think root should be optional because that has your title. Well, I don't know. I guess we'll see. So I'm just put this right in RFC. With more details.
I mean, it seems like the root is that one file that you're talking about that you need.
Yeah, you only need root.
That's the thing that you're going to touch in that first command, right? Make dir routes touch routes root.
Yeah, that's the only one you need, and then,
you I can run my app, right? So that thing shouldn't actually be optional. It seems like you got to have something in your HTML page.
And it's got your links to your global styles and everything else. So
yeah.
I was gonna say quick thoughts. All right. Roadmap. I stick this on there so when I'm browsing GitHub, I can tell better. I don't know why this label isn't enough for me. That create issue from discussion is pretty slick.
Yeah, good job, GitHub. Remember the Dear GitHub hashtag on Twitter where people were just like, Dear GitHub,
oh no,
please add this feature.
I wish that when I clicked this, the URL changed so I could share this with people.
Do a Dear GitHub. There you go. Dear GitHub. Dear GitHub. Use React Router.
All right, cool, man. I think they do here, but like that one's just a state update. I guess there's two versions of use React Router, right? Put it in your package JSON and then actually use a link instead of a button.
Yeah.
Cool. That was fun.
Yeah, cool. We got some good stuff in the backlog.
Yeah, all very and we've been talking with people about this a lot where it's like we were so hyper focused on the runtime. How does this run on a server? How does it run in the browser? How is it performant? What are the APIs that you use every day feel like? And now it's time to like look back and be like, okay, let's look at server build target. How do we actually bundle these things for servers? What about the dev server? How come live reload is kind of hard? Like all what a lot of people call DX of like just the tooling around it all and the entry points. I think that's what we're gonna like clean up really well in the next few months. And not so much the runtime. I think we've nailed the runtime for the most part.
Jacob doesn't like export component. I'm just noticing in the chat.
Oh, well.
He says, if they're all called component, I'm not going to know what route I'm looking at without additional effort.
Export index route as component. And that's also what RFCs are for. Like we can look at a proposal and be like, we like this.
Yeah.
get into it in an RFC, right, with more details and like get more people's input on the
Yeah.
RFC, and like we can back out of these proposals.
You can look up at the tab and see what file you're in if you're doing file-based routing.
Yeah. But yeah, like once we put it on the roadmap as from a proposal, I don't think that's set in stone. When we get to RFC phase, and like if people bring up some stuff where it's like, oh yeah, that is a problem, like we might bail on some of these things.
Yeah,
So
we could still, yeah, this isn't like, yeah, we can still talk about it.
yeah, this is stuff we're going to dig into and see what it's going to look like to implement.
And ultimately, you're never going to make everybody happy,
Yeah, especially with our team.
right? Like you're just not. You're just not like it's impossible. That
Yeah.
should not. I mean, the goal should be make as many people as we can happy.
That's actually what makes me a little nervous about this. You know, we're streaming right now. It makes me a little nervous sometimes because like you open it up enough, and then like people, if we want to back out on something, and then we do, it's like people found out we might have done it, and then we're not, and then they're mad. Where if we'd never even brought it up,
it's good. It'll be good.
yeah, makes me a little nervous, but I'm pumped. We've got so many awesome people in our community that give us great ideas, so it's way better to keep it open.
Yep.
On
Well,
something,
it's a
and then
good
we
call.
do-
Thanks for everybody. Thanks for watching along, and thanks for hosting, Ryan.